Welcome back to another video. If you're returning, then you know that I've been gone for about a month, and if you're new here, I'm happy to have you here. So I took a sabbatical leave just because I was working during the summer and I was trying to figure myself out, but God also told me to take rest and take a time of rest in order to get clear about what I want. He told me that I would be stepping into a new season of my life, and I'm definitely in a new season. But I wanted to make this video just as like my returning video, but also to talk about how God answered a prayer that I made 7 years ago. We often forget the prayers that we make, the petitions that we tell God. And sometimes we pray about things and then we just completely forget about it, or it's been taking too long. So we're like, you know what, God, never mind. I don't want it anymore. But even if we give up on our prayer, or even if we act like we don't desire things anymore, God still remembers. He's the God that remembers. He's the God that sees, and He will deliver what it is that's in His will for your life at the appointed and appropriate time. So this season, I took the month of September off. And so, number one, super happy to be in the month of October. I love fall. It is my favorite season. So I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. I hope everybody's having a great month so far. But God was trying to teach me that rest is productive. I'm somebody who's very high functioning. I love productivity. I love staying busy. Partially that's due to me attaching my worth to the amount of things I do or the things that I do for people. And so God was really trying to debunk that lie in this season to teach me that I can just simply exist. I can just simply take up space. I could just simply be in a room and my presence is enough. Who I am is enough. I don't have to perform, or I don't have to be doing anything to be considered worthy. And so He taught me that rest was productive, but He told me He didn't want me to just rest. He didn't want me to just rest in terms of sleeping all day or like physically resting, but just resting my mind, resting my soul, getting back to a place where I'm hearing His voice and taking heed to His word. And so before I stepped into the month of September, I had prayed to God in January of 2025 that I could get my first apartment. I was a first-year university student and I was living on student housing, but it was just not meant for me. The partying, everything was just too much. So I was like, God, I want to be in my own apartment. Now, ever since I was very, very young, I had been praying that I would live in my own apartment. I think I remember being like 12 years old and I was just praying to God. I'm like, I don't like my house. I don't like living here. And there wasn't anything necessarily wrong. I've just always been a very independent person and very particular. And I just felt like the environment that I was in was just not contributing to my highest self or to my success. And so I remember every single year, ever since I was 12, I would pray that I would get my own apartment, that I would live alone, that I would be able to just have my own space. And I gave up on that prayer a long time ago because I was just like, okay, right when it's time for me to become an adult, the economy wants to crash. Everything is just skyrocketing in price. Like, of course that happens right when it's my turn to be an adult. And so I gave up on that a long time ago. I was just like, that's not something that's going to happen. The best that God could probably do for me is to get me in student housing and let me just have a single room. And that's actually what He did for me my first year. But little did I know He was actually preparing me to live alone. So I let go of that prayer a long time ago, and I was just going lollygaggling through my life. And then I got to January of 2025 and my lease for my student housing was about to go up, and I was like, God, next time I come back to this city to come to school, I need my own apartment. I need my own space. I can no longer keep living amongst these people. It's not helping me. I can't be confined to one room. I need multiple spaces to work. I need a place to set up my content desk. I need a place to just breathe, and I can't do this anymore. And so, long story short, He showed me this apartment complex, which is still kind of, it's still considered somewhat of like a student place. It's for students specifically, but it's apartments. And he told me to apply to it. And I remember I applied to it, and the lady was like, are you sure you want to apply to this? The wait list is long. Like, there's a 2-year backup on this wait list. You would be at the very bottom of the wait list, and there's still so many people ahead of you. Like, are you sure? And then she was like, you should also be looking for other places, but God specifically told me to not look for other places. He told me to just stay rooted in this one place. So mind you, I'm in this city that I don't know of. It's not my hometown. I'm leaving student housing, and I'm trying to get my first apartment, and everybody's like rushing. Everyone's like, we need to get roommates, we need to get this. Like, all the houses are going to be taken up very quickly because the place that I go to university in is a very small town. So I was like, God, if I don't, like, this place has a 2-year backup, which means it's unlikely that I'm gonna get it, and I'm not applying to anywhere else. I'm gonna have nowhere to live. And he just told me to apply to this one place. And so before I left the small town to go back to my hometown for the summer to work, God told me, he pointed me to the story of the walls of Jericho and how they walked around the walls of Jericho and then the walls collapsed. And so he told me for 3 days to fast from sugar, fast from social media, just fast from anything that is a stimulant or that gives me a dopamine rush. And in those 3 days, I was actually moving back to my hometown. So he was like, in the last 3 days that you're here, I need you to fast. I need you to wake up super early, and I need you to walk around this apartment complex 7 times not intervals, but he wanted me to walk around 7 laps 3 times. Yes, 7 laps 3 times. 7 laps 3 times. Yeah. So I was like, okay. And I was like, I'm so afraid people are going to look at me weird. People are going to think this is just so odd that I'm like walking around these apartment complexes. And I was also touching the walls. And I was praying the whole time that I was making my laps. And so I did that, and I ended up finishing my fast. I went back home, and I was like, the latest that I'm going to wait for them to tell me if I'm still up on the wait list is like July. And then after that, I have to look for another apartment, or I'm not going to have anywhere to live. Guys, in May, so literally a month after I had left my university town, they said, we have 3 apartments that are available. You choose which one you want. And long story short, I didn't get the building that I wanted, but the other building that God wanted me to go into had cheaper rent, and it was bigger, and it was exactly what I asked for. So God was like, do you want to go for the good thing, the thing that looks good, or do you want to go for the God thing? And so I chose to go for the God thing. And my apartment, it's in an older building and stuff, but I literally, down to the specifics of what I prayed for, he gave it to me. I was like, I want my apartment to face the back of the apartments and not the front. And I got the back. I said, I want to be near water, and he put me near the river. I said, I want to be on the highest floor, and he put me on the absolute highest floor. And so he just back to back has just been working overtime in my life. And I've been gone in this whole sabbatical, this 1 month that I took. He was very much stressing to me to get into routine. He was stressing to me to figure out a routine that works. And I'm sitting in an answered prayer that I made 7 years ago. And I think even the way that I'm telling this story is not doing God justice, because there's a lot more details into it, but I don't want to make this too long. If you do want a longer part of this, or if you do want to know like the very specifics to prove to you that we serve a God that listens, I will make that video, and I'll make it like a 30-minute video so I can go into everything. But just as like an introduction video, I don't want to make this too long, but all I know is that the God that I serve, my God, listens. And this whole sabbatical, not gonna lie, it hasn't been easy for me. I'm somebody who's high functioning. I love productivity. I love constantly doing things. So when God told me that, you're gonna need to take a break, it wasn't fun. But he taught me how to smell the roses along the way. He taught me how to take my time and eat breakfast in the morning, take my time and get ready. And just like, he taught me how to take care of myself. And because he told me that the last 3 months of this year, everything is going to completely skyrocket. Like, everything is going to take off and things are going to happen very, very quickly. If I don't know how to rest, if I don't know how to take time to listen to the word of God, if I don't know how to take time and pray, if I don't know how to do these things that feed my soul, I will get burnt out very quickly. And so I say all that to say, the God that I serve, Jesus Christ, if you serve the same God, there's nothing that he can't do for you. And God also taught me in the season of waiting that it's an honor to wait. It is an honor to wait. There's this song, it's called I Don't Mind Waiting by Juanita Burnhams, and I've been listening to that song all month long. And she says it's an honor to wait. And God really taught me what that looked like. I think a lot of the times we take for granted the fact that we serve such a good God and that we're able to wait on him. There are people that have been waiting for decades, centuries, waiting for their God to show up, waiting for their God to do what he said he was going to do. But our God shows up for us every single day. And I always say, like, if there's nothing else that God does for me, if he doesn't answer any more prayers that I have, if he doesn't show up, if I never hear his voice again, him waking me up every single morning is enough. It will always be enough. The fact that I have mobility in my legs, the activity of my lungs, him waking me up is enough. And he's proven himself time and time again to just continuously be faithful in everything that he does. And so that's how God answered my prayer that I made 7 years ago. As a 12-year-old, I never thought for a second that I didn't have that much faith. I didn't think it would even be answered. I was just like, this is what I really want. And I was honestly venting. I didn't think he was genuinely writing down what it is that I was asking for and preparing me for all those years. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. And I understand that I'm in a position that a lot of people have been fighting to be in. And I really God has really shown up in my life at a young age. And I say all this to say that if he can do it for me, he can do it for you too. There's nothing about me that's special, or there's nothing about me that sets me apart from any other believer other than the fact that I'm walking this walk and I'm being obedient. And nothing comes without a cost, right? Nothing comes without a cost. If you want God to show up in this certain way, you have to be obedient. You have to put down the drugs. You have to put down the alcohol. You have to stop watching videos like that. You have to stop listening to music like that. You cannot expect to excel and to be put in a new room in a new season doing the things that you did in the last season, doing the things, staying small the same way you stayed small in the previous room. You have to be willing to expand, and expanding is hard. Can you believe that the hardest part about this season for me was learning to rest? Some people have the opposite problem. Some people, all they do is rest, and they don't know how to get up and be productive. And so God deals with each of us differently, and he gives all of us different things according to our behavior and according to his will, right? He treats us all differently in the sense of our individual lives. Obviously, our God remains the same throughout. He's the same God today, yesterday, and forever. So it's not that he changes depending on who we are, but he shows up differently depending on our lives, and we all have different lives. And so if this does anything today, I hope that it encourages you, and I hope that it shows you that we serve a really good God. And 7 years later, I'm literally sitting here and I wake up every day and I'm just this is mine, and no one but God can take this away from me. And if God, and also a lot of guilt came in. I was like, do I deserve this? And God's like, I would never give you anything you don't deserve, whether it's good or bad. I would never give you anything you don't deserve. And I think it's important to remember that we serve a God that's just, and he's a God of justice. And so he'll always give us according to what we deserve. And if God gives us something, you have to believe that you serve a God that's good enough to not only give you the good thing, but to also give you the skills and the habits to be able to maintain those good things. He will never give us anything that will cause us to stumble. That's why you might be praying for the new job, and he's like, you're not ready yet to work with a group of people. If I gave this to you, you would stumble and it would hurt more than not getting it. And so we have to make sure that we're remembering and that we're reminded that He's very, very intentional, and He's very, very strategic, and He strategically plans out each of our lives. So if God is calling you to rest, or maybe God is calling you to stand up and be more productive, whatever it is He's calling you to do, you never know that if that next action you do will lead to a prayer that you prayed years and years ago. It could be a prayer that you prayed yesterday, and maybe God wants to give you a 24-hour miracle. But all of this is contingent on your obedience. So show up today and be obedient.